Oh Baba, oh Baba, I'm aching inside to be closer to you, to walk by your side. Oh Baba, oh Baba, won't you help me to see that you're as close to me as I let you be. My mind is so mortal, my flesh is so weak, my strength is all wasted on pleasures I see. Come on, your stallion, and whisk me away. My longing nearly breaks me. How long must I stay? Can this be the answer that I'm longing for? That your divine spirit now knocks at my door. I'm coming to let you in, to feel your sweet presence, to let life begin. Oh Baba, oh Baba, come nearer, oh please. I'll drink of your essence, I'll fall on my knees. Come be my sculptor, for I'm made of clay. Mold me and shape me in your divine way. Oh, mold me and shape me in your divine way. Oh, mold me and shape me in your divine way.
Oh, that was nice.
Jai Baba.
Bravo.
Bravo, bravo.
Bravo.
That was
Bravissimo.
divinity at its best.
What'd you say, Orang?
I said that was divinity at its best.
Ah, there you go.
Hey, so
Hey,
anybody have anything that like Telly?
let's get
If you
Telly to
got a
sing a
guitar,
song.
huh?
Yeah.
You are more than welcome to bring it out. But you can do it at any time.
Yeah. Well, I got neighbors.
In other words, you should probably play right away.
That's it. You mean they don't like late night chat?
They don't like him, banging on the guitar at after 10 o'clock.
It's
Well,
only 10. Come
You,
on.
you are more than welcome to any time.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything? Well, we got Alan is somewhere around here. Alan. Oh, Namita. Good. Namita from Pune. Unless she's living in Mehrabad now, but I think she's in Pune.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wonderful to see you, Jeff.
What's that? What do you say,
I
Nabita?
said it's so wonderful to see you, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. I can't see you, but I get to see Baba instead. That
Okay,
photograph
that's a good deal.
that's a great photograph of Baba. I have a nice story that you folks might find interesting. Um, unless somebody has something, to uh,
I do sing "Oh Moon." I don't know if you want to hear my version.
yeah, go ahead with
Do
Oh
you?
Moon.
My beloved. Yes.
Oh moon, oh moon, oh moon, you are and will be, may you shine in me. Everything is in your hands. Be you hold all the world's keys, and everything and everyone you can always see. May you shine in me, oh may you shine in me. Oh moon, oh moon, oh moon, you accepted me as your slave, and I am fortunate, but for your embrace, how long must I wait? My prayer, hear my prayer, dear, come and be with me. May you shine in me, oh may you shine in me. Oh moon, oh moon, oh moon, my heart is broken and I can't bear the pain, but worth living is this life, and loss is really gain, and this pain makes me love you more and makes me happy. May you shine in me, oh may you shine in me. Oh moon, oh moon, oh moon, you are and will be. May you shine in me. Oh moon, oh moon, oh moon, you are and will be. May you shine in me.
Jai Baba. That was one of Mara and Mani's favorite, the women monthly favorites.
Beautiful.
Ellie, do you think your apartment dwellers will allow you one song?
Yeah, I'll sing some.
Okay.
Joy, 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 rejoice. Joy made her Baba's choice of my soul in his plan. On his truth I take my stand. Joy in truth or how I grow. Joy in truth or how I know. What I reap is what I sow. So joy and truth from head to toe. And joy, 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 rejoice. Joy Meher Baba's choice of my heart in his love, endless like the sky above. Joy and love are how I see with my heart fearlessly. Joy and love help me be what I am essentially. And joy, 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 rejoice. Joy in Meher Baba's choice of my mind in his game, calling out his holy name. Joy in mind bring clarity. Joy in mind help me free what I have that's made to see God's holy light inside of me. And joy, 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 rejoice. Joy in Meher Baba's choice of my form in his play, selfless serving day by day. Joy in form or why I dance, joy in form or why I chance to ever catch my beloved's glance, and in that look find true romance. And joy, 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 rejoice. Joy Meher Baba's choice of my soul in his plan. On his truth I take my stand. On his truth I take my stand. On this truth I take my joy, 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 rejoice.
Now, if your apartment dwellers get upset by that,
They
there's
got
something
poor
that
taste if they're
may
upset
need
by
to
that.
get a little therapy. Hey, so I do have a story I can share, unless somebody has something, or I'll get. We'll come back to you, Patty, if you have something. But this is a story that maybe some of you've heard, but it's not something you would normally hear. But you know, back in the 70s, at the old Pilgrim Center, you know, the dining room, the Westerners would often kind of sit together, and the Indian people would sit together. Sometimes they would overlap a little bit, and sometimes you'd find somebody off in the, you know, one of the side tables against the wall. And from early years, there was this older lady that would sit there, and I never knew whether she was new to Baba, whether she had met Baba. I didn't know her story at all. But this is her story. I found out many years later. Her name was Girja Kilnani, and she grew up in Karachi. This was when it was back in the 30s, when Karachi was really part of India. She grew up in a very religious family, and there were a Hindu family. There were depictions of God on the walls, and they did morning arti and evening arti, and they had their own guru who would come and stay with them for periods of time. And so she was very interested in a real seeker from a young age, and you know, and she wound up going to a Catholic school, and there they told her that Jesus was God as man. And so she got very fired up. You know, she wanted to see God. People talk about God, I want to see him. So she wrote a letter. She said, "Dear God, if you are in the world, I would like to meet you. I would like to see you in physical form, and I hope you will answer my prayers." And she put it in an envelope, and she signed, it says, "To God," and then underneath it, "In heaven." And she took it to, she was 9 years old, very quite innocent, and she took it to the post office and mailed it and forgot about it, and then as time went on, she had a very, like I say, very focused on God, and but at either 17 or 19, her parents told her that they had arranged for her to get married. Now did not want to get married. This was she wanted to just find God and not not have to deal with marriage. But she couldn't refuse her parents, and so they arranged with this guy in northern India, and he also he was a seeker of God, and he didn't want to get married. And the two of them put off their parents for about 3 years. But in refusing to get married, they developed a respect for each other. And eventually they did get married. And she married a man named Prem. Now, he was a lawyer who later became a judge, and he was connected with the railways. And they were posted all over India. They had two children, Vinod and Raj. And he was always looking for a guru. He didn't accept her guru, but he was looking for a guru, someone who could tell him the truth. And so he was always in search. He would see all these different masters and everything. But then eventually in 1959, he was posted in Pune. And so he was there, and he heard about Meher Baba. There's a long story, but there's a nice exchange that Erich describes of Prem Kilnani meeting Baba. Baba was not seeing anybody, was in seclusion at Guru Prasad, and Erich describes this. He comes in and he's introduced. He was regarded as a big shot, and the Mandali kind of prevailed on Baba to at least see him. And so he was brought in, and he was introduced as maybe Circuit Judge Prem Kilnani, some high title. And Erich is there, and Baba says, Judge Kilnani. And Baba says, rather reluctantly, I too am a judge. And there's a little bit of tension there. And Erich is reading Baba's gestures. And Baba says, I too am a judge, but your way of judging is different from mine. I bring home guilt to the bring home guilt to the guilty and punish them. And I bring home guilt to the guilty and I forgive them. So there you have, human justice and divine justice. So anyway, so he starts seeing Baba, and Baba says, come by anytime you can. So he would stop by and see Baba at Guru Prasad after work at different times. And he never told his wife, because his wife was already devoted to this guru, the Swami guy. But one day Baba says to Prem, why don't you bring your wife? So he comes home and tells her, that this Meher Baba would like to meet her. And she hits the ceiling. He hadn't told her anything about Baba, that he was going to see this master. But he prevailed, and she went and saw him, and and there were a number of people there, and she's a shy kind of Hindu wife, and but there Baba's asking how people's health was, how they slept and everything, and she thought, what kind of master is this? I thought maybe there might be some spiritual discourses or something. He didn't say anything spiritual at all. So she comes home, and time goes by, and again Baba says, why don't you invite your wife? So she comes again, and usually she's kind of standoffish. She doesn't, all these other people are devoted to Baba, and she's just kind of the odd person out. But then after about the third time, Baba starts teasing her, who do you think I am? And she wouldn't commit to anything. She would just kind of smile. You know, another time, who do you think I am? She wouldn't volunteer anything. But it was interesting because she felt that Bob was reading her mind somehow. But on about the fifth time, um, you know, she's there with Baba, and Baba says, "Who do you think I am?" And she's, you know, puts him off. And this is what Baba said to her. Don't you remember that you had written a letter to God when you were young? You wanted his darshan and human form. I am that God who received your letter, and hence I have come in human form for you. And you don't recognize me? So she had totally forgotten that she'd written this letter and just wept on the spot and became a lifelong follower of Baba. And that there's a woman who works at the gateway named Preeti, and that was her grandmother, and Vinod's mother, Girja. So anyway, I thought that I just found was a very beautiful story, and how Baba knew even her back when she was a child, writing this letter to God so naively and innocently. Yeah.
It's a beautiful story, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I
Patty.
add some?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Yes, Nabita.
yeah, to the story. Yeah, actually, yes. We know, in fact, when Prem Khilani had met, I think he was going around, like you said, looking for masters, not sure about, who the person was. I mean, he was going to be with. I think in one of those encounters, um, Baba told him that, you should stop going around. Once you come to me, then your search for all other masters stops, because I'm the one.
Yeah.
And I think that led him to finally close his search. That was one incident that I think happened. And also, so that was very beautiful. And then I think he finally, kind of just devoted himself to Baba.
Yeah,
And
he was.
also, Vinod Kilnani himself has mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was wanting to go see
Sorry, you were
Sri
saying?
Aurobindo in Pondicherry, but he had already died.
Yeah.
It was kind of late. Hey, Ganesh, you know,
So
can you find that?
there
Can you
was
find that?
another incident. Remember?
Oh,
Sorry, Jeff.
oh, go ahead, Namita. Yeah.
Sorry. Another incident I remember was that when they stayed at, Khushru quarters between 1962, I think Baba had told him to get transferred. This is about Prem Khilnani,
Yeah.
to Ahmednagar. And they stayed at Khushru quarters. They couldn't find a place. And so they stayed in the Khushru quarters from 1962 to 1966, post which he wanted to, internally, he was asking Baba for a promotion. And, Baba obviously granted him that wish, and he was transferred to Alibag as a district judge at that time in 1966. But his wife, Girija Khilani, she was so devoted at that point to Baba that her heart just wouldn't, be happy anywhere else. And so then I think they requested Baba once again. They prayed to Baba for a transfer back to Ahmednagar. And then in 1968, a year before Baba's dropping his body, they were in Ahmednagar next to Baba.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
lived in the
that was
trust
the story.
compound. They lived in the trust compound there in the 60s. Now, Ganesh, there's one quote that you know that quote, "I am in everybody's heart, but I am sleeping there."
Yes, I can show that to you. I have the original scanned copy of it.
Yeah.
Let
So
me put it to your.
this couple went to Baba and said that you know, in the latter years you hardly got a chance to see Baba, and they when they were with Baba, they expressed that longing to see more of him, even though Baba in the latter years was seeing very few. But he gave this message to them. This is what.
Okay, I will put it here. I have a scanned copy of the original, which let me share it.
So this couple evoked this spontaneous discourse from Baba, you might say.
Yes, I'm putting it. Just 1 second. Share. I can't share because I'm not the co-host. Somebody has to make me the co-host. Then I can share that on my screen because I have it. I wish to show that scanned copy of that letter.
Huh. But I think Angela.
I can read it out till then.
Huh?
I can read it out till then.
Yeah, read
Ganesh,
it out.
Can you try now, Ganesh?
Okay, I can try now. Excellent. Thank you. Share. Where's my?
We got Etzion from Israel. Mayor Chan from Hyderabad.
Where is it?
Dinku.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, here it is. Yeah.
This is a scanned copy of that original letter which Baba sent to the Kilani couple. And this says, I'm in everybody's heart, but I'm sleeping there. It is my old habit. In order to awaken me, you should always call out to me and say, Baba, 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 continuously. Then I, who am asleep in your heart, will not find any pleasure in remaining asleep. Let alone sleep. I shall not find time even to doze. I shall then slowly be awakened in your heart. By hearing your constant call, you're taking my name constantly. Once I am awake in your heart, you too would awake and remain awake for all time. Therefore, repeat my name constantly and awake in your hearts so that you become awake for all time. Meher Baba. So this was sent by Baba, Guru Prasad, 18 July 1959 at 5:30 p.m.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I asked the right person on this one.
So this is beautiful to see this original letter. So, yeah.
It's like that wonderful Bob Brown song.
Oh, Baba, Baba, wake up to stay within my heart. Yeah.
That one, and yeah. You wonder where I sleep. I sleep within your heart, and all the world is mine.
But I'm yours.
And I'm yours.
Yeah. And Patty, did you have anything over there in Oregon?
Well, good evening, everyone. Jai Baba.
Baba.
Yeah, I watched just today your Sunday late night talks, and coming off of Amartithi, I was not able to stay online much longer. I've been online a lot. My heart got very full, and this was beautiful to hear this story. I was touched very deeply to tears just now. What is always so profound to me, coming after having been with Baba so much for the weekend and all his lovers, is how personally he shows up for you just when you need him the most. And just like him remembering and saying that to her, not right away by any means, but after he'd been with her. I have a lot of things going on right now, and he showed up for me like that today in a way that was really, really powerful, that just constantly this remembrance that how could I doubt that he's not the all-knowing, ever-loving, ever-present being in me that knows exactly what I need. I mean, that to me is just, oh God, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I, I kind of got on tonight. I can't see worth a hoot because my eyes have been dilated and I've had dye in my eyes and gone through a lot of different things today. And that's just a piece of it. And so I really just wanted to kind of be a part of such love through the airwaves, his love coming through everybody. And, and I love hearing the music, and I love seeing that and being a part of it. And I literally don't miss an evening, even though I'm not here presently, usually in person. I see it, I watch you guys all the time. It's really beautiful. So Jay, Mayor Baba, and thank you for all being here, really.
Yeah.
It means the world.
The amazing thing about Baba, I mean, it's just inconceivable that he gives everybody on earth his full attention. How, I mean, we can only give our attention maybe to one person, or we might be able to come into a room and be aware of the, the each one in that room. I mean, even Erich would say that they are like nothing compared to what Baba, what Baba could do, what Baba is. Fully aware of everyone. I don't know how he does it. It's, I mean, human beings can't do that. I mean, it's like where the infinite God touches creation. That is Baba. There's the form, but I mean, it's where infinite God touches creation, and there we have him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't relinquish the infinite consciousness, the infinite knowledge and power. He just, but there he is.
But, I want to say, I've been in dialogue with Rick today, and Rick Chapman, and he was part of this piece today that came into me because obviously Baba used him at that moment. I needed him. And what Rick said to me today, earlier, before this afternoon, because we've been in a dialogue since the 31st, is that because I was remarking on the profound thing of what you just said, that how Baba meets us at such an intimate level, and yet being the God man, separate from, I can't say it as good as Rick said it, but he was saying that he takes no credit for it. I mean, it's a humble, it's like he's not being the king up there dishing out the golden stones and you need this and you need that, and I'm going to give you this because this is what you need. It's like he gives it to us so we can really know and trust that he is who he is. I mean, I don't know really how to say all that, but it's just, it builds your faith, your trust. And when it happens so frequently, it's knocks me down every time when I'm getting up. No, it's kind of a wild ride right now.
You see that last film of Baba, or the one in '67, where Baba is just so broken, and yet he is just, I mean, Erich would say that he would always be cheerful, I mean, he would, in spite of infinite suffering, he would put a smile, and if you see that '67 film of Baba, he is making every effort to be there for Louis Van Gasteren and rising to the occasion. I mean, what an example.
Yeah.
And he's an infinite suffering. Wow.
Yeah. And so what, when you guys were all singing, I can't sing this, but I have Only You written down, only you can make this change in me. It's like, to me, it's just only him and holding on to him. All you need to know is the word Baba, because he knows everything else. It's like, that's it. So anyway.
Beautiful. No,
Yeah.
you just
It's
Yeah.
fabulous. Just fabulous.
Anyone else have anything that we got Alan here, we got Ganesh. Ganesh, you got any anything there from Pune?
Yeah, I'd been on 31st to Amartiti, so I did go there to Mehrabad, and
Uh-huh.
it was a unique experience. Not many people, so it was something different. So it was much different than what a usual Amartiti would be. Just it was
30,000
like
people.
yeah, not many thousand people, maybe 2-3,000 people on the hill. That's
Yeah.
quite less than what it usually is. So it was a kind of a different experience going from the door. You take the darshan at the door and then you move on. So I got an opportunity to go as a volunteer. So that was thanks to Baba for it. And I was just thinking that I was thanking Baba for letting me be there in this time when it's so hard to be there. So, and it was, I don't know if it ever meant like Baba just preparing us for the future where there will be crowds and we just take darshan from the door. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. And
So
Erich used to say, you have to find Baba's tomb within you, in your heart. And if this pandemic comes up, that's what we will have to do, Yeah.
so I was just so
Oh, good. We got Alan has shown up. How's it going, Alan?
Hey, how you doing? I'm pretty tired.
Yeah.
I think that's the word I'd say I'd use. I'm pretty tired on multiple levels. I don't know how much I have to
Yeah.
share to give, but
Erich used to say at the end of the day they were so tired they would just they would they would go sound asleep. They were so exhausted.
yeah, I like that story when you were saying that when you would see them in the morning time kind of getting up and they were all bent over and they looked like old people, and then throughout the day they would kind of get more strength and talkative, and then towards the end of the day they'd start looking like the old people again, and slowing
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, what would happen is I would work at Merazad, getting out there earlier before the pilgrims came, and the mandali would be going around like this, and then like an hour later they'd be about like that, and by 11 o'clock they'd be like that, hey Jay, and then when everybody would leave, I'd see them and they'd be just like this, and Merazad would become like an ashram, absolutely quiet. No one spoke except very minimally. They poured out and poured out, and they were so exhausted. And I was there. I would be painting or plastering, so I had a ringside seat. I could see this, but yeah, they really gave of themselves to the last drop. Erich used to say, live your life on the stage of this world to such an extent that when you depart, Baba gives you a standing ovation. And I'm sure that he did that for the Mandali. They gave everything.
Erich said that to you, right?
What's that?
Specifically, Erich did say that to you, right? He said it to
No. I might have heard it or I read it.
you.
Yeah.
I thought he said that to you to live such a life.
Yeah.
Mm.
What was that last thing that Erich did say to you, though, Jeff? What did he say to you?
Are you, Jeff, are you still having problems?
With
But what he meant, I mean, I guess, I mean, some people have heard this, but I'll say it quickly. I used to go to India, and at some point I would get together with Craig Ruff, who lived in the trust compound, and we would compare notes. I would tell him about all the problems and the disharmony and the difficulties at the center, and he would tell me all the problems that were happening in the trust compound. You know, there were the Mandalay, and then there were old Baba people, and there were Westerners, and there was a lot of conflict. And so we would share notes, compare notes, so to speak. So on this occasion, we were just outside the trust office at a little table, and we were having our yearly kind of exchange. And Erich came out of the trust office, and he was going down the veranda to answer a phone, something like that. And he stopped by our table, and he said, "What are you two guys doing?" You know, like we were a couple of conspirators. And Craig says, "Oh, Jeff, he's telling me about the problems at the center." And Erich looks down at me, and it comes from Baba through Erich into my lap. "Jeff, are you still having problems?" And I knew, translating into English, what he said was, "Are you still having a problem with problems?" And that was I have not had a problem with problems since. In other words, I thought, well, we shouldn't be having problems at the center. We're all devoted to Baba. We shouldn't have problems. Well, problems are going to be there, and there are going to be periods without problems. And then the problem's going to come again, and there won't be problems. So he freed me up. That was a great last gift from Baba through Erich to me. I didn't realize at the time that was the last thing he ever said to me. But don't have a problem with problems. They're natural. They're normal. Tackle them as they come up. And then when problems are gone, enjoy that. Enjoy the freedom of problem-free period.
How long after did he pass after that?
I think when I came back the next year, he had passed on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mayor Prasad, have you got anything there in Seattle?
No, the weekend was wonderful. Amar Tithi was,
Yeah.
it was just one of an experience. Very rare that had that kind of an Amar Tithi experience. It was so wonderful. Even though short, it was so good to attend it.
Yeah, it's incredible that we can meet inwardly in such a rich and full way, and we're not even physically together. You know, I mean, distance doesn't mean anything at the level of the heart. You know, we're all drinking from the same keg of wine. Etzion, do you have anything from Israel?
Learning to enjoy the troubles.
What's that?
I'm learning to enjoy the troubles.
The troubles. So, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
We have plenty of them here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're under siege in a way. We're not yet, but there are rumblings in this country too, but nothing like Israel. Yeah.
Could be a total war break out any second in the Middle East.
Yeah. Yep. You know, there's here's something that I mean, it's a topic I thought might be worth coming back to, and and it kind of connects with, you know, it's about completeness. We've talked about it, but this is this is an exchange that Eric said. This is after Baba dropped his body. Hey, Hunter. Oh, Bradley. So this is an exchange that Dr. Harry Kenmore had with Erich after Baba had dropped his body. You know, he's talking about what is Erich's experience now after Baba dropped his body. And Erich said, "We just don't feel lonely." You mean you? Harry says, "You mean you feel complete?" That's it. That's the right word. You got you got the feeling of completeness, and Erich says completeness. So there's nothing to ask for. That is the very reason you see, despite all these things we could despite all these things we could be with him. The feeling of completeness is there. He was a monarch. He would say he would say that I would want to give you something. He would say that I would want to give you something, but we were so complete in his presence. What could he give us? Or what he didn't give us, it didn't matter. Whatever he would give us or didn't give us, it didn't matter. This is a very, and so Harry says, Dr. Harry Kenmore says, as long as you're with him, there was nothing else you needed. You didn't need a mother, you didn't need a father, sister, or brother. You didn't need friends, you didn't need books, you didn't need anything. You did it just to be near him and do his will. Right. This is one of the signs of a true God man, not the fake. How can you distinguish one from the other? One is pseudo, another is real. How do we distinguish? And Eric says, this is the sign. One feels complete. The feeling of completeness overpowers us. Nothing is wanting, absolutely nothing. No matter what you heard about a so-called master, yogi, or whatnot, it didn't mean a thing. You were complete. Harry says, nobody could entice you away. Even with God realization, even if a perfect master came and offered God realization, we wouldn't bother. We felt so complete.
You know what that reminds me of, Jeff, is
Yeah.
a thought I had recently, which is something that I don't know if I could ever really understand it, but how the God man comes onto the earth for such short periods of time. If you think about it, like 70 years, what's that? And like
Yeah.
it's just such a short period, and then the amount of time, for example, that he was exposed to people around Myrtle Beach and all that, it was just like the 50s, and then I mean then he was gone in 69. So not a lot of people, I mean the people that needed to have that contact had it, but so many of us, especially right now, I guess in the particular period of 50, what is it, 52 years after, you know, it's like such a short period of time that he's here as the God man in the human
Yeah.
form. Yeah. I don't know, something about that really struck me.
Yeah. And yeah, 74 years out of about 1,200 or 1,300 years. It's very rare. And but one of the things that Eric said is Baba himself is complete. And so if you whenever you think of him or you're connecting with him, you start to imbibe some of that completeness. You know, that's why the Baba people don't are very famous in the world, because they, they feel kind of complete in themselves. You know, there's you don't have to be anything special or anything. You are. I was always impressed by Darwin, who had great, you know, he was a great speaker. He had charisma. He had, you know, amazing person. And when I was young, up there living up near him, he only went. He could have been the mayor of Schenectady. He could have been a state representative. He probably could have been a senator of New York, you know, state. But he only went up about 2 rungs on the ladder of the city traffic department in Schenectady, and just was not tempted to go higher, because he could be at that level, satisfy the requirement for earning a living for himself and his family, and have Baba there. No heavy demands on his consciousness. I mean, that was just a surprise to me, because I kind of grew up like most of us. Well, you want to make the absolute most of your talents, your abilities, your creativity, and here he was sitting with so many excellent qualities, and he wasn't tempted. In fact, he once told me, there comes a time on the spiritual path where you could be anything. You could be a great writer, you could be a great dancer, you could be a great uh, um, musician. That you reach a place where the talents are there at your fingertips. And he said, you gotta go push past that. I mean, that doesn't mean that someone who's a musician like your wife is has gotten off the track. No, but
Give
what
it
I
up,
mean
yeah.
that
She should just drop it, right?
we need her. We need her. We need her. We need some accompaniment on this journey.
No,
But
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
interesting that he said that, and he had the poise not to get lured into something that would have been made him exceptional in this world.
No.
Yeah.
I often relate to his the way that he talks about having to delegate, you know, men who oftentimes feel like they're, you know, the world's out to get them, or that the man's out to get them, or whatever the system is, and how he had to delegate this group of men and you know, kind of like drop into their state of wherever they were, but at the same time be with Baba in all of it. And I have to remember that every day when I'm in property management, because it's just constant, you know, everybody, it's just to delegate men who are out there in the field right now, and especially with COVID, and you're asking them to do things and they're like, why? Or like, you know, this isn't fair, or, you know, and then yeah, but we have to get the job done. It's just like, wow, to remember Baba, and that is very challenging. But but at the same time, you know, like what I've been thinking about lately is like my loves, my passions, you know, like acting and playing music and dancing, and you know, like I've had experiences and people in my life who were in Hollywood or are in Hollywood, and they've come in and out, and I was not like, there's something that felt like no, I do not want to even try to go that way. Like there was something that was like, there was a wall that was like, you're not gonna, even with all these like opportunities, I was just like, no, like you're just not gonna do that. Instead, you're gonna just be sandwiched into this like crunched, like squeeze time into this property management thing that has nothing to do with like, you know, all the things that I love.
You had a lot of talent, and you know, and you get beaten up.
Okay, great. Jeff, I have one question. When you see this completeness, and we as Baba lovers feel that complete, I was just thinking, doesn't it not motivate us to be in the world, to do our things? Like you just feel complete, and you just feel that inertia to get into anything and work or do something. Because of that, it might create an inertia, right?
It won't actually. If you can get to a place of completeness, then love will do things through you. You can be in a complete state, and love will get you to write poetry or write a song. So the completeness is a very fertile ground for beautiful things to come through. It's not a, it's a very receptive state. And, you know, like Erich was certainly not complacent at all. That completeness got him to reach out to us and enter into our lives. And I mean, all the mandali. No, yeah, that completeness is a very, it's not a state of complacency. It's a very vital state.
I mean, it's wondered when you look at Norina and Margaret and you know all the other amazingly talented and other people who had things in front of their name, like it's like they just found themselves. I think there was a story where that person somebody had recently like escaped a concentration camp or something like that, some sort of war after the war, and they came to visit the women side, and she came in and saw that they were eating out of these specific spoons that they've had for years, and their clothes were tattered, and she was sat there and was eating with them, and they all felt awkward and didn't know how to react to her, and she was crying, and she said, "I know how you feel. Like I just got out of I've lived in a concentration camp as well." Like she just basically said that, and it was like I remember, I think it was Margaret who said it was just like this strange feeling, like she had looked down at her clothes and like looked at the scenario and was like, wow, like what they were, I mean, to that level of being that close to the God man, it was like, it's not necessarily, I mean, for us, for us it'd be like, wow, that's hard living, but who knows what kind of work they were actually doing.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a lot of what people were going through in Europe during the war. They had their own version of that in traveling with Baba. Hunter, have you got anything? You probably got some good stories somewhere.
Well, the storytelling part of my brain turns off this late at night.
Oh, okay.
But so I might have to call it in from the cold. But if it walks in, I'll unmute.
Okay, good. Yeah, it is 10 o'clock at night. Not for Patty. Patty's still, she's still got Rachel Maddow to look forward to. Let's see who else. Payam, how are you doing?
Hey there. Jay Baba.
Hey, Baba. Are you making dinner or something?
Oh, how did you guess? Here. We're multitasking. I'm paying bills and Glenn is cooking here.
Oh, hey, Glenn. Good to see you.
Yes.
Good to see you.
It's always wonderful to hear everybody, and I can't like log off. I have to have it on so I can hear what's being shared.
Yeah, well, anytime you feel like adding something to the soup,
Yeah, this just came up over the last couple weeks. I think I've shared it before, but sometimes I feel this heaviness with the to-dos of life. And this weekend was a wonderful reminder that, Baba's orchestrating every minute detail. But not that I forget, but I'm not always present to how he's orchestrating things. So then I get focused on, I don't know how to express it. I get focused on what I need to do and I forget. It's like I live two dreams. There's the real dream of Baba, and then there's the fake dream of my work and all these other things.
Yeah. I know I once asked Merji. You know how he had been able to overcome worry. What he had done to overcome worry.
Yeah.
He said, overcome worry. He said around Baba that it was always like this. He put his hands up like that.
Yeah.
You know. So Baba asks us to do these things, but they are impossible things to do. I know. I also feel kind of overwhelmed. I would like someone to come in and just take care of everything. And I like to start all over. I got too much junk around, and I'm too far behind. I have to kind of unplug from thinking that way, and do a little bit
But
at a time.
He does help, and the more I try to remember him, the more I feel, and it's not always, it kind of waxes and wanes. And just this morning, it like shifted, and I know it was Baba. He just shifted it, and I felt lighter. I don't know why. And then at Arti time, I felt like singing the "Don't Worry, Be Happy" song, and I just. And it's him. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like he helps us along, and there are periods where I feel like I'm not as connected with Baba, and then something happens, I reconnect with Baba, and it's just back and forth like that,
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. No, that's the way it is. Beautiful though.
What you guys are talking about is, I just flipped to this, and the words force of illusion, the force of illusion. And it's like a quote from Baba says here, each moment with which you are confronted can either tighten the grip of the false or deliver you to the truth.
Yeah.
Each moment with which you are confronted can either tighten the grip of the false or deliver you to the truth. And it's like, it's like it starts as small seeds. It's like a small thought that turns into like an avalanche, or like as Erich says, it's like a small seed that if you keep watering, it turns into a tree, and it's like, I find that especially with indulging in desires and other things like anger or resentment or depression, sadness, or believe, like you said, Jeff, just kind of even frames of thought like, well, I should really be doing this more, or I probably need to get this out of the way before I can, there's so many of these frameworks that I've created over the years. And I think I'm at this point pretty, I can see that I'm pretty exhausted with the weight of believing in a lot of these things. A lot of these things I really feel are true, even with Baba here and looking and feeling Baba in moments. Sometimes I'll just be like, I put my hand up or something, or like, inwardly just like kind of look away, like, just not right now, Baba, just hold on a second. Let me figure this out. And then, just let me figure it out. And then he's like, all right. But it's quite painful because he feels like everything's on fire in a way that's not really like a growing fire, but like, like I'm pouring liquid molten on my head and be like, why do I have why am I in pain? Like I'm like hurting myself. Why am I hurting? Like splashing hot water in my face and be like, ow, my skin hurts. Whose fault is this? It's Baba's fault. And he's just like, what are you doing? Why do you keep doing?
No, I know it's
why? It feels very addicting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, burning off all these impressions.
Yeah, some of these things
and
don't feel done.
It lightens up over time as you get older. But I mean, it does. I can guarantee. Knock on wood. Hey, I better. Yeah. So Hunter, did a story come up, or are you still angling for? You guys still got your line out on the in the lake.
You know, I don't have a story or anything particularly profound, but as I was listening, I was just reflecting on how Baba spoon feeds me everything that I need for my own growth, whether I know it's good for me or not. And sometimes Baba, you know, will entertain me in order to get me to take the bite of food that I need. You know, here comes the choo choo, you know, open up the tunnel. And Baba's like, choo 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 choo. And I say, oh, Baba, thank you, thank you. You know, and then other times, you know, Baba just sort of looks at me and says, this is going to taste really bad, but it'll help you, you know. But I become more and more aware more quickly as as he brings me closer and closer to him, which is still far, far away. But I become aware more quickly that what he's giving me is exactly the thing that I most need, whether I understand it or not. And so much of my life seems to be a client will come with some particular crisis, or some particular crisis will occur for me, or some little moment of sweetness or some reflection. Some mirror shows up in front of me that shows me exactly where I'm stuck, or where I'm hard edged or bitter or resentful or blaming. And they come up so with such constant generosity and such unflagging presence. and I can't avoid for very long. You know, I can no, I don't want to eat it, I don't want to eat it for a couple moments, you know, but I really can't go very long without just saying, Baba, whatever you bring me doesn't really matter, because yours is the hand that's holding the spoon, and you're my beloved. And you could bring me sour mash, or you could bring me sweets, but yours is the hand that's holding the spoon, and your constant attention is, I would take anything from your hands because it was your hands giving it.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, you know, I know Eric would say, if you can accept everything that comes to you as coming from Baba, you will be complete. You know, the good, bad, and ugly. Or you know, there's the line, until perfume and stench are the same to you, how will you catch the scent of oneness? I mean, if we had tremendous tolerance for pain, we would uh, we would be we would be content. We would be complete. But no, 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 I don't want that. I don't want that. Let me go. Where can I get away from that? I'm going to go to this. I mean, it's hard. I mean, that doesn't mean that if you've got a toothache, you just don't go to a dentist, you know. But what I mean is that it, to tolerate everything is the way you get toward completeness. Is what Erich would say, and that everything in creation then reminds you of him. Like you're saying, everything that you're being spoon fed reminds you of him.
I still kvetch a lot on the way to accepting.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming towards me, and I'm like, oh, really? No, But quicker and quicker, he brings me back to that. Even tiny story. I got a root canal yesterday. Speaking of dentists,
Oh, yeah.
picking up on the serendipity of you saying that, I got this root canal, and it was so sweet. They gave me headphones where I could control the music and, you know, and either listen to them or not listen to them, and pain relievers, and like the tenderness of this endodontist who was drilling the nerves out of the tooth. I was so moved by the tenderness of it and the precision of the loving. And at one point, something went wrong in the whole process, and blood started spurting out everywhere through the tooth. And the whole time I'd been taking Baba's name. And when the blood starts spurting out, the whole jaw starts to ache as some nerve got very angry. And he gives me 4 more injections of anesthetic to try to control the pain. It was this astounding moment where I thought, well, and he kept saying the whole time, he's like, you didn't even flinch. You didn't flinch once. And suddenly this happens. And I didn't worry about whether I'd been taking Baba's name sufficiently or whether maybe I'd lapsed and that's why it happened. But he said, if it doesn't stop bleeding, I'm going to have to send you away and bring you back to do this whole thing another time. And I just said, oh, Baba, please let it stop bleeding. Please let it stop bleeding so I don't. And the next thing I heard was he got real quiet and he said, the bleeding just stopped. He said, I guess I can finish it. I was thinking, oh, Baba, thank you. It was as if the whole episode with blood spurting everywhere and the shot of pain down the jaw and all of that was just to get me to take his name in that moment so that I could feel his closeness then.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Oh, lovely. These are all the great stories. Oh, Dinku, we got Dinku there.
Hi. Oh, listening to the dentist story, it just reminded me. I've been having a lot of dental work done lately, and I'm a coward when it comes to pain. But every time before leaving for the dentist, who's just across the street, and going there, I keep taking Baba's name. And then when I'm in the chair, you know, I picture Baba there with me, holding my hand. And, you know, I say, please, Baba, no pain. Please take the pain away. And it's been smooth sailing every single time. In fact, my dentist was surprised. You know, I had an extraction done and he messaged me early the next morning. He says, how's the pain and how's the swelling? And I had to tell him there's no pain and no swelling. So he was pretty surprised.
Yeah. No, beautiful. No, Baba.
And all the credit goes to the dentist.
Yeah. It's beautiful that, because sometimes Baba wants to make things easier for us. It's not like he wants to run us through terrible times. But Baba said, go ahead.
No, Jeff, please complete. Then I'll say
just in relation to that, Baba said, this is Baba's words, he who remembers God in his hour of happiness remembers God best. So it's not just in the bad times, but, you know, unusual that Baba said that.
So Jeff, when you're sharing this precious thing about completeness, I was just thinking, how is this completeness related to surrender? So does it mean that when we are completely surrendered to Baba, we find this completeness? So I'm just finding this relation between surrender and completeness.
Yeah, let me think about that. That's a good. Anyone else want to respond to that?
Would you say?
Like to say something?
Yeah,
sorry.
Namita, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if this would make sense, but you know, it's been 10 years since my journey with Baba started in 2010, And like, I don't know if I mentioned before, but my kind of very young years, I mean, the years of my youth and growing up, I remember I had a lot of masters and a lot of people who I used to follow. And I think when I came to Baba, that was in the year 2010, when I stayed in Mehrabad for the first time during a silent stay. It was my first time in Mehrabad for a stay. And I stayed for almost 15 days. And I remember going back to Pune and thinking that I think it's not even about surrender as much as it is about the way he had captured my heart. So what he had gotten from me was my heart, which I had, I don't know, unconsciously, definitely not consciously, but unconsciously, it was no longer mine. I knew that somewhere deep down, I was just surrendered to him in the most beautiful way that I can think about. I mean, like I was in love with him, you know. I just felt that okay, this is it. The ball stopped rolling, and I don't need to look anywhere else. For me, that was it. The chapter had closed. Now, if you tell me to, go anywhere, my heart will not lead me to that place. And I think that is the feeling of being complete. Because I mean, there are there are things that you face every day, no doubt about that. And like, you keep growing through these. And like the dentist example which I just heard is something I do. And I know it's with most of us that when we are in pain, we take Baba's name. And that probably is what he's gotten from us, that feeling of peace and completeness, when knowing that he's there with us, um, and he's never going to leave us. So I never felt this with any other master when I was, or guru, whatever you call it, the spiritual so-called people. But I felt it with him. I feel it in Mehrabad. And the moment I'm in Mehrabad, I'm in a different plane. I can't even tell you that that's just me. That is somebody else. I operate out of a different space. I'm just saying this because I know what I feel, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this. And when anybody talks to me about Baba, like, I generally don't attend the morning sessions, but when you're around, Jeff, I mean, my heart, I don't even know. I think it's just something that is now I don't know what it is, but it's just like a switch. It turns on, and knowing, okay, Jeff's going to be there. I want to listen. I want to hear about Baba's words. And so I'm there. So things like these, I mean, are what give me my feeling of of joy, of completeness, of being able to move forward.
Beautiful.
Or
No, this is what Baba has done. It's just amazing what he does in us. Yeah, do anyone else have respond to completeness and surrender? Mayor Prasad.
I knew that was coming, Jeff.
Uh,
You have a great
I mean, it's a great combination. I mean, contentment and how to contentment and surrender.
I think completeness comes when His will becomes our will.
Yeah.
When we are completely satisfied in His will, that becomes our will. We don't have anything else other than just being satisfied in His will. In surrender, we don't have a will at all. There's no existence of our will there at all. I think surrender is probably an advanced one, even more than completeness. That's my
Yeah.
view.
Beautiful. Yeah. I think of surrender as if you're determined to love in every moment for Baba, to try to love in every moment for Baba, I feel that is what surrender is. that you're, I mean, not just expressing love, but you're thinking of Baba. You're all your time is spent. What you're doing is you're doing it for Baba. And so, and Baba does say, whatever you do for me is done by me. So, well, it's like I say, that's it's. I guess I haven't really. I thought of surrender as if you're up for loving, trying to love. Every time you become aware, that is a gradual moving into surrender until, like you say, His will becomes gets expressed through you in an abiding way, not intermittently, but in an abiding way.
And I feel like when we're talking about completeness, whenever you brought up the word completeness, oh, my cat's gonna start yowling. Whenever you brought up completeness, it makes me feel like I'm reminded of the goal of my life, the focus of my life, the goal of what I'm here to do is like Him, and so I can kind of relax more, or there's a sense in myself. It's like a felt experience of not needing to push so hard to try to figure things out or try to get somewhere, but I can kind of almost in that moment rest in Him because I have that focus that He is the goal that I'm here to go towards. And so yes, I have to work, yes, I have to deal with not so friendly people or allurements or my addictions or attractions or detraction, whatever, but He's the goal. And if I have that sense, then that's where, for me, that's where I can get to the thought of attempting to effort to try to get to surrender, to try to surrender in any particular moment. So instead of, I might find myself in many crossroads in a day. Like I could either tighten in this scenario and yell at this person, or I can soften and just say, yes, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said it this way. You're right. Yes, yes. And then in that moment, I feel like I surrendered to Baba's
Beautiful. Yeah.
form in that particular person who I might not like in that moment, but I'm saying, yes, Baba. It's like a form of, yes, Baba. But I have to have that recognition somewhere up here, I think. I have to, well, maybe the way you're talking about it, like dropping from the head to the heart, and dropping is, for me, it was like a visceral feeling when you said that, Jeff, the first time. I really remember that feeling. It was like that completeness, and it was like, oh, I can just get out of the maze and just drop into, I'm here with Baba, for Baba. Okay, it's not so complicated. when I'm in that frame of mind,
Yeah,
it's not so complicated.
Beautifully expressed. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, then Alan. I was just thinking from the Mandali standpoint, because Mandali had surrendered their mind, heart, body, everything to Baba, and it was at their disposal. They were in complete surrender, so probably that complete surrender was leading them to completeness, where it was nothing, there was nothing about them, it was everything Baba. So probably in that complete surrender, you feel that completeness.
Yeah. It's a good territory to be working toward.
Yeah, sometimes I look at how tired Erich looked. I'll look at his eyes, and he'll look into the camera or something, or talk to Gary or somebody, and I'm just like, oh, like it'll just wipe me, like
Yeah.
I can't even take in how much he went through. Yeah, the obedience, the complete,
Yeah, in the latter years, I used to feel like, why don't they just take them up, into the mountains somewhere and just kind of massage him and let him just kind of sleep and rest and everything. But he had to stay at Marizod because the women were there. he couldn't leave as long as they were there. It must have been something Baba had told him. So he couldn't get away, and they would go for 3 weeks to Pune, and then he would go. But then when he would go to Pune, Merwan said that he would go there, and you'd think that he'd go to his home, Bindra house, and they would want to give him rest, but his father would berate him, and Merwan said that he would, needing a rest, all his busy life with Baba, and he would be at his father's doorway, and his father would be in bed just berating him for hours. And Merwan and the rest of the house want him to come in and rest and just get a complete break and everything, and he would have to stand there and take the abuse from his father, because Baba had taken him, and he
Jeff.
didn't see them that much.
Jeff,
Yeah, Mayor Chand.
I feel is if you have surrendered to Baba, that's what my understanding is. If you have surrendered, you have become his. You have no authority or control on yourself once you surrender to Baba. And you doesn't have a free will. You have to act as per the will of Baba. There are many stories about that also. About once Iruch got Baba got annoyed with this thing when he wants to do something, committed some act. Then Baba said, once you have surrendered, you are mine, and you have no authority to do any wrong act, even with Aloba and this. So once you have surrendered, totally you become his, and you have to act as per his will. That's all. That's my understanding.
Yeah, right. But Erich would say that they would try to find ways to make it easier on themselves. I mean, the mandala, like maybe get a treat somewhere, or something extra, or something to ease the suffering and everything. They were maneuvering around, and Baba would kind of catch them. But I mean, he said, they would. Well, Erich would say, we would try to stand up for our human rights, whatever that means. Because the human rights just weren't a part of that world, But he said, what you people call human rights, we didn't have that.
Jeff,
Let's
I'm
see.
thinking like surrenderance is only possible when when Baba is physically here. Because if we don't see any physical master or Baba, we don't know what his what his will is, right?
Well, I think the Baba, no, I think Baba within can make it clear, if we're receptive enough, what he wants us to do in a particular situation. In other words, he's still operating as if he was right, giving us outer orders. Those intuitions that come, I think we can. He can continue that whether he's in the body or not. I mean, of course, it's a lot easier when he just tells you what to do, when he's physically here. But even the Mandali said, like, Bob would say, well, I want you to go and contact this family in such and such a distant place. He doesn't tell you how you're supposed to respond to them, how you travel. I mean, you think, oh, well, they're just doing what Baba tells them, but he would give them a general instruction, but he wouldn't fill in all the particulars. You had with your own intuition, you had to figure out how long to stay, how to respond to this person, whatever, it was. So you think that you just take what he wants and do it. No, they had to use a lot of like for example, he might say, I need to get some passports because I need to get into Pakistan. You know, so that's the order, that's the instruction. Well, how are you going to do it? How are you going to play off of this guy? You know, try to I mean, you might get refused, so you got to find out a way to pressure that guy and go another guy a level above and see if you can get that guy to help. And, you know, in other words, he didn't give you you just had to get the job done, but how you did it turned out to be a lot more complicated than you could ever imagine. I mean, that's a lot of what happened. Yeah. You know, this reminds me, this is only remotely connected, but Baba was in Switzerland in a place called Fallen Flu. And he was way up on a mountainside, and he wanted to be in seclusion, and he posted people at like maybe 50 yards in different directions. But it turned out to be this was really a public place. And Walter Mertens was the guy at the lower part of this, you know, Baba was higher up. And a couple of hikers come by, and they're heading in the direction where Baba is. And so Walter Merton, what does he do? He says, they're performing high voltage experiments up there. I wouldn't go up there. High voltage experiments. You know, and so they didn't go any further. But what I mean is you have to come up with things like that. I mean, that's ingenious. No one wants to go where there are high voltage experiments are being taking place. And you know, and it's really honest because Baba is high voltage, you know. Anyway, you have to be able to think on your feet, you know. Hey, Janet Jacobs. See if she.
Yes. Hi, Jeff.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying all this conversation. The last story you just told had me chuckling really well, really good. The high voltage experiments, yes, because it's so clever. I mean, it's true. It's not a lie. It's just misleading.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't remember if it was in Effort and Grace or on Sunday night or during Sunday, but someone said at one point that the quote that Baba said he doesn't love us in spite of who we are.
Well, yeah.
He loves us because of who we are.
Yeah.
That has been such a potent reminder for me. I mean, it's so nourishing to think that Baba loves us because of who we are, not in spite of who we are. So it's just opened a bit of a door for me not to be fighting who I am all the time, not to be in conflict with it. I mean, that doesn't mean to say I don't think about my sanskaras and you know, all of that, but it's just like who we are is what he loves, and that's just been very sweet to remember that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful line. I think it came from Charles Haynes.
Yeah.
It might have come from Elizabeth originally. Baba.
Oh.
What's that?
No, I said because I heard it from Charles Haynes sometime in 1980s, and
oh, you were the one that brought that up during Effort and Grace, right?
Yeah.
Late night.
I don't remember whether it was Effort and Grace, but yeah.
I think it was you. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I remember that quote, just like Janet was saying. You know, that really changed my life in a way that that was very profound, because you know there was always been this you know, accepting myself, that Baba would accept me, was not something I was deeply feeling inside. But when Charles Haynes said that, that really hit it on the nail. It was really, really profound.
Yeah, beautiful.
It changed my relation with Baba, in that,
Yeah.
that he completely accepts us for who we are.
Yeah, he's not turned off. I mean, your fellow beings may not like your character traits, but Baba's just not on that level. I mean, because I once said to Darwin, because there were a lot of conflicts when Baba came to Myrtle Beach, in the 50s. And, there were some heavy duty conflicts with personalities. And I said, Darwin, Baba saw all this, these people kind of having difficulties getting along with each other. How did Baba respond? And Darwin said, Baba seemed to be oblivious. He wasn't, he wasn't on that level. This reminds me of a story that Erich told where there was a guy that would come to see Baba, and he would give such a phony display of devotion to Baba. And, every so often he would come and he would just, it was all phony and a show, and it bothered Erich. And one day after this guy did his usual thing, Baba afterwards said, how was that? You all right and everything? And Erich says, well, no, Baba, you know this guy. You know that he's not sincere at all. He's not genuine at all. And Baba said, but you don't, see him the way I see him. You don't know how far he's come to be just this bad. You don't know how far he's come to be just this bad. And Erich, when Baba said that to him, it's like, he that got a lot, knocked the judgmentalness out of him. You don't know how far he's come to be just this bad. But Baba's seeing the whole, the long range picture. And Baba said, this man has a lot of love. He has a lot of love for me, but
yeah, would you see that a lot, Jeff, with Erich in particular? If there was, I mean, we all have our human frailties, but maybe you were like a young guy at the time, and you were, I'm sure there was interactions you had with people that maybe weren't the best. And I mean, did you ever see Erich give compassion or kind of that example of like an unshakable, just not judgmental thing to someone that you felt was like, wow, I just like no one could be around them or no one could really stand them, but Erich kind of showed an example of that?
Yeah, I saw that in a number of cases where certain people, we as Westerners, kind of found them a little bit disturbing. There was one guy that came, and everybody kind of kept a distance from him. He was kind of, disheveled and kind of like a drifter, a hippie sort of a guy. and everybody kind of kept a distance from him. But Erich gave this guy special attention. I mean, it was clear. I mean, Erich, gave this guy some special attention when none of us could really do that. And it turned out that this guy had gone to Harvard. This guy has written so many beautiful Baba songs. He is like an incredible guy. He's a therapist, and his whole life turned around. But it's like Erich saw the diamond in the rough. I mean, it was, but the Westerners, we just kind of kept a little bit of a distance from this guy. And Erich spotted him. you know.
It reminds me of the story that Mani tells during her time in Bangalore. It's not directly related, but for some reason I remembered it. But she went to this hospital for surgery. I'm sure some of you heard this, but she had to, I think, go for a ear surgery or something in Bangalore, and she had to stay in this hospital for a week or 2 weeks. And she went there, and Baba would come to see her every day. So, of course, the hospital nurses and everyone didn't know who Baba was, but they saw something in him that attracted them. So, when she was in the room and Baba came, the nurse would come on some pretext or the other and say, "Oh, is nurse somebody else there?" And then, Naja was with Mani, and they would respond, "No, she didn't come here. Why would she come here? Because she never, she's not the one responsible for Mani's, everyday care." So every once in a while, one of these nurses come and with some excuse or another. So one day Baba didn't come because he had some other work, and nurses came and asked, "Oh, you're isn't Baba coming today?" They asked them who he was, and they said Mani said he's my brother. And then when on the day that he didn't come, they asked her, "Oh, your Baba didn't come today?" Mani says, "No, he had some other work." And the nurses said, "Oh, we feel so nice when he comes here. We feel so happy," and so on. And so not one day, actually, after a few days, as Baba kept coming, one of these nurses was actually taking care of the nursery where all the babies are born. So when Baba came, this nurse would go bring a newborn baby to Mani's room and bring the baby to Baba. And Baba would play with the baby with, like doing this, doing that. And then basically, just for a few seconds. And then the nurse would take the baby away and go back to the nursery and come back again with another baby. So they did this every day, and Mani and Naja were feeling kind of, oh, this nurse is kind of disturbing them and taking the time away from them with Baba. So one day Mani said that she counted 12 babies that this nurse got from the nursery. And she said that Baba was so attentive, and he was not at all annoyed. He showed the same care and the same compassion and love to the 12th baby as he did to the first baby. He had the same full attention on the baby. He was so, Mani tells this story a lot better than I did, but
No,
it was
beautiful.
so good to hear Baba, his attention on the 12th baby was the same as the first baby. And here was Mani and Naja kind of getting impatient as the nurse was she didn't know why she was getting the baby. She just liked to see Baba playing with the babies.
Yeah, and all those babies are blessed, They'll probably be future Baba lovers,
Yeah.
Won't even know how it all happened. Yeah. Well, let's see. We haven't seen Jay and Cameron. He might come out of the night. Or Meph. I haven't seen Meph in years. I've seen her name, but not Meph. And VJ. Anyway, let's see. So, anything anything anybody has to, it's getting about time. Anyone have anything to read as something final, or any further questions or anything? I
Jeff,
think I might have read this before. No, go ahead.
Nothing, Jeff. I mean, when you told uh, Baba told like one who remembers when during the happy times.
Yeah.
Something. I mean, there is a couplet from Kabir, which is like the same. It
Yeah.
says like this in Hindi. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे ना कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे, दुख काय कोई. That means like everyone would pray to God in the times of difficulties, but no one does during the times of happiness. So when a person who does remember God in the times of happiness, he will not have any difficulties.
Yeah. No, it's important. Yeah.
And later Shah, Darwin Shah's daughter, said this once, that Mehra said, loving Baba is to remember him during replenishing.
When?
Replenishing, eating, or replenishing, replenishing. I don't know. Huh?
Replenishing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loving Baba is to remember him during replenishing.
Yeah.
Relishing, Meher?
Replenishing.
Okay.
There's something that Rick Chapman said where that really struck me the other day, or this weekend, where he was saying, how we are, graced by Baba. We can't really do much. I mean, we can effort, but that grace is up to the master. But he said something about, loving Baba. And it's like, well, then how do we love Baba? And then he said, by remembering his name. And I always kind of had me in particular, had a sort of, I don't know, maybe a resistance of like, well, do I really need to say Baba? Do I need to say your name all the time? Do I have to say your name all the time? Maybe I could just think of you, or maybe I could just, drop in and feel you in my heart or something. And then I remember that line that, Baba has on his wish, and it's like, I say with my divine authority to each and all that whoever takes my name at the time of breathing his last comes to me. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like that's a sure sign that his name is incredibly important. And I really should hold on to that a lot more. But yeah, I don't know. Something about what you said, Meher Prasad, about the replenishing. It just struck me all of a sudden. I was like, how do I hold on to his form? How do I hold on to him, his Daman? And it's like, that his name is really important. And I don't know why I was just mentioning that. My brain is fried, but there's something that Jaishma said and then Meher Prasad. But anyways, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, no, say, I find, if in doubt, if you run out of things to do, just say Baba's name within. I fill in a lot of spare moments, and I think of Baba's name as really the source of my vitality over the years. But some people are attracted to saying his name inwardly, and I asked Darwin, and he didn't. He did. He talked about Baba a lot, and he was feeling Baba's presence, but he wasn't so attracted to that. But I always have been. It's like my lifeline. So here's what I'm going to read. This, hey, Mansi, I wanted to see if we can. I don't know who Mansi is.
Hello everyone. I live in Bombay. Sorry, I can't have my video on.
Were you able to hear what we're saying and everything?
Yeah. Yes. I've been with you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anytime you want to share anything, feel free. This is there. Everybody is. It's a potluck.
Sure, real pleasure. Thank you so much.
So this is Rumi. Last night I learned how to be a lover of God, to live in this world and call nothing my own. I looked inward, and the beauty of my own emptiness filled me till dawn. It enveloped me like a mine of rubies. Its hue clothed me in red silk. Within the cavern of my soul, I heard the voice of my beloved crying, "Drink now, drink now." I took a sip and saw the vast ocean before me. Wave upon wave caressed my soul. The lovers of God danced around, and the circle of their steps became a ring of fire around my neck. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder. 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved. Heaven calls me with its rain and thunder. 100,000 cries, yet I cannot hear. All I hear is the call of my beloved.
Is that Coleman Barks?
No, it's a guy named Jonathan Starr.
Okay.
Beautiful, though. I mean, the whole creation is calling out, but all he hears is the cry of his beloved, drowning out all the other cries.
There is another Rumi quote, a short one that my brother sent today. Very,
Yeah.
very good. It says, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens."
Beautiful. You know, Mother Teresa's prayer was, "Break my heart so completely that the whole world falls in." And people would ask Erich if Baba had broken his silence. And he would say, when your heart breaks open, when your heart cracks open, then in you he has broken his silence. When your heart cracks open and you begin living from your heart, then for you his silence has been broken. Beautiful way to think of it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Namita, always great to see you. She had the
That's that quote on the when the word of my silence breaks, along the same lines.
Yeah. Telling you who I am. Yeah. Yeah, Namita, some of you know, but Namita, when she was young and she lived right in the apartment that was built after Guru Prasad was destroyed. She lived on that very site. Amazing. Talk about, having a Baba contacting you early. There she's in that atmosphere of Guru Prasad. And her son was born in that place. Yeah. Well, I guess.
Yeah, he turned 18 this year.
What's that?
I said he turned 18 this year and last year. And on Amar Tithi, this Amar Tithi, in fact, we both went to Guru Prasad at separate times. He wanted to have some alone time with Baba, and I wanted to have my own alone time with Baba. So that was very special, this Amar Tithi.
Beautiful.
Going back to Guru Prasad and spending Amar Tithi in Guru Prasad. Yeah.
And that's his birthplace, you might say, right?
Yeah. We sat there for the entire time when the silence period of 15 minutes. Post that, then I did aarti with there were 2 other people, and we really had a very nice 2 hours at Guru Prasad.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go separately, so he went later.
Beautiful. You're blessed to have your son into Baba without you having to twist his arm, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, so anyway, I will
Yeah,
be
very true.
with you folks. And, today is Groundhog Day, yeah. If you don't feel like trying to get through God Speaks, but just watch Groundhog Day. It's God Speaks in 2 hours. For sure. Anyway, see you guys. See you, Ganesh.
See you later.
Kelly, thank you for
It's a
singing.
pleasure being here. Thank you all. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Nasreen, are you? We got to hear this voice. Nasreen, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Ah, there it is.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm a good listener.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
And Meph, much love to you. I hope you can get your screen up sometime. All right.
Jai Meer Baba.
Baba, Avatar Meer Baba.
Avatar Meer Baba.
Baba ki jai.
Jai. Avatar Meer Baba ki jai.
Jai.